high protein, vegan peanut butter and chocolate baked oats. First, we need to figure out how we're gonna sweeten these bad boys, and we're gonna use whole dates. I love making everything that we bake to different drinks that we make and sauces and dressings with whole fruit instead of using things like maple syrup or honey, just to keep the blood sugar really balanced and to make sure that we are getting the fiber that we need. I'm using a half of a cup of dates. These are pitted, so the seed is removed. I'm gonna place that into my blender with water. What we're going to do is make a date puree. This is so easy to, again, sweeten your baked goods, your drinks, and so much more. And it's gonna keep your blood sugar more balanced than if you're using free sugars that aren't bound to fiber. Now we're adding a third of a cup of chia seeds. These have soluble fiber, which are not only good for your gut, but also really good for balancing blood sugar. When we put them into the blender with the dates and the water, we're going to bust open the cell walls, making the omega-3s more available. Now we have our base, and I'm going to put that into our mixing bowl. This is the chia seeds with water and dates all blended up, and we're going to be adding our rolled oats and extra protein, which I'm going to show you in just a second. But first we need to make this chocolatey, and guess what? What flavor really complements chocolate?
Vanilla.
Yes, so instead of using vanilla extract, we always use vanilla bean. This is going to take your baked goods up to a totally new level, and it's going to also add extra antioxidants from using those whole beans.
Letters are backwards.
It's okay. Go ahead and add a scoop of that. While Cohen's getting the vanilla bean powder added, we're also going to add some other powders. This is actually a peanut butter powder, unsweetened and unadulterated. There's no salt or sugar or oils added to it. It is just peanut butter powder. So that's gonna give us that peanut butter flavor that was gonna go perfectly with chocolate. We just added 16 grams of protein with 2 scoops of the peanut butter powder. The chia seeds already have protein as well. And you might not even know this, but dates also have protein. All plants have protein. To pop another 20 grams of protein into this peanut butter chocolate baked oats recipe, we're going to add a pure, cold-pressed, organic, raw pumpkin seed protein. This has an amazing amino acid profile, and you can barely taste it. It's super neutral and goes really well into our morning drinks that we make and also into baked goods like this. Okay, while all of this gets stirred together, I'm going to talk about the main ingredient, and that is oats. Now, I'm gonna be fully transparent. In this recipe today, we're actually using rolled wheat because we ran out of our oat groats, but we like to roll our grains fresh because did you know that they actually start to lose their nutrients after they are rolled or pressed or ground really rapidly? So we have a grain mill and we have a grain roller, and that is just a fun fact. So if you have those tools at your fingertips, maybe you should start to roll your own grains. All right, now we're gonna stir in our cocoa powder. You can use raw cacao powder, cocoa powder, or carob powder in this recipe to make it taste chocolatey. We're just gonna stir in our rolled grains. This is going to add soluble and insoluble fiber to help feed our gut microbiome, keep our blood sugar more balanced, and keep us full for a good while.
This is the texture that you're left with.
All right, it looks good and gloppy. How appetizing does that sound? No, but truly, these gloppy types of foods are so good for your gut microbiome and feed the happy bugs that keep you strong and keep your immune system thriving. Now we're gonna line our baking dish with parchment paper, and I wanna show you the easiest way to do it. Crumble up your parchment paper so that it's easier to lay into your baking dish and it's not so hard to get all of in the corners. I'm using an 8x8, I think, but really this works in any type of baking dish, just depends on how thick you want it to end up.
If you want to make it more sweeter, you can add stevia powder.
If you wanted to make it more sweet, you could add ground up whole stevia leaf. This is a ground up stevia leaf that we grew in our garden. Just a pinch.
Yep, a pinch.
All right.
It's sweet all by its own.
Now we're gonna pour it into our baking sheet and bake it. I encourage you to look into different grains that you can use outside of just oats. Oats are a whole grain that are amazing for you, but So is spelt and kamut and einkorn and rye and barley and whole wheat. It's a good idea to get different grains into your diet so that you can diversify your gut microbiome. You could even use rolled quinoa in this recipe. We'll check back after it's baked. This is the final product. I pulled the parchment paper out of the pan. We let it cool for about 20 minutes. And if you can wait longer, then go for it. But this child is hungry and he is going to be the true taste tester. Okay. Now you could eat these on top of nice cream. You could put some sort of banana frosting by just blending up pure bananas. Or you can just eat them alone. You can have several of these for a healthy breakfast alongside some greens. Yes, I just said greens for breakfast. You want to try to balance out those meals with healthy whole plant foods. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains. We actually have beans in these baked oats because peanuts are actually a legume. And look at those delicious peanut butter chocolate baked oats. All right, give it a try.
Yummy.
Happy baking.